assault and batteries, but my trunk stay ever ready. Assault and battery, if you scared, you never ready.
Alright, so the big breaking news over the weekend was Sheamus has not been re-signed, or he has requested his release from the WWE, and nothing has been official yet. I don't think there's been an official statement, but the rumors on the internet, of course, those are always true, are stating that Sheamus is no longer going to be part of WWE. And for a guy who's been part of the company since 2010, I believe 2009, it's a pretty big hit. You know, you have guys like Kofi, guys like Sheamus. These guys, well, just to name the two, they're pillars. I feel like these guys have been around for so long, and they, in my opinion, honestly, more Kofi than Sheamus. I think I always thought they were going to be lifers. I thought these guys would be in the company forever. Then they're going to go on to like either commentating or producing, you know, and backstage. I never would have thought that they would be released, but even on top of that, request their release. And I feel like when you reach that top of the mountain, like when you're in the WWE, guys requesting to get out of that company really shows the state of what wrestling is, because you can leave the biggest company in the world and still be okay after that. And I know a lot of people don't like hearing this, but a lot of that is because of AEW, and a lot of that is because of the Young Bucks, and they showed that you can be a millionaire and not be in the WWE. And it wasn't like that for so long. It was, you had TNA, and I think that really depended on who you were. You know, if you were a Kurt Angle, if you were Kevin Nash, Booker T, anyone in the main event mafia, really. If you were an ex-WWE guy, you were okay in TNA. But once that kind of like fizzled out and they kind of disappeared for a little while, it was really only WWE. And I think that's when you saw the product kind of go down. And unfortunately, that's kind of when Sheamus made his debut. It was around 2009 time. And those were dark times, I remember. But funny enough, that was like the time I was the most invested into wrestling. It was 2009 to about 2014 or 15. And to think that we lived through those, you know, Sheamus winning, there was so much bad stuff. I can't even like get into it, but like Sheamus was a big part of the WWE and like the title scene, whether it be the United States title, the WWE title, World Heavyweight title. He was a big part of that. And to have a guy who is an ex-world champion, the crowd loves him. I think that's the biggest shocker of all. Even with the New Day, Sheamus, the people have grown to respect Sheamus. They have respected the fact that he has been around for so long. He's put his body, the guy gets injured every few months, which I think to his detriment, I'm sure has a lot to do with like, maybe if WWE doesn't want to re-sign him, it's like more of a liability. But for someone like him, you never would have thought that like he wants to leave. And especially he kind of built his own storyline where he wants to win the Intercontinental title. He hasn't done it before, so I really thought somewhere down the line before he retires that he would have at least one run as the Intercontinental Champion. Not saying that it's too late, and maybe these rumors aren't even true, but I do feel that there was so much WWE could have done with Sheamus, and I feel like now especially, they're sending a lot of these guys from the main roster to Mexico, and instantly, just like Damian Priest, for example, they'll go into that company, and their stock will just rise just because something about the Mexican crowd, something about the arena, and maybe it's the guys being motivated again. It's like a second chance to kind of prove themselves. And I feel like when you're on the main roster, you're not winning matches, you're kind of in like a nothing storyline or with a nothing tag team partner. It kind of depletes you as like a talent. Maybe you lose your confidence. And you've heard stories about guys who've like kind of been on the main roster, they're kind of floating around, and they get that second chance. You know, it happened with Zack Ryder. It's happened with El Grande Americano, Chad Gable, and Ludwig Kaiser. Now you're seeing it with Damian Priest, and I feel like Sheamus could have been one of those guys. Maybe send him down to Mexico for a bit. Maybe send him to, you know, somewhere in Europe, like that WWE kind of has a partnership with. Somewhere where he can kind of get his confidence back, get the hype back, and then bring him back to the company, bring him back to Raw, bring him back to SmackDown, and, you know, do something. But I feel like there's so many opportunities, especially with a guy like Sheamus. You know, whether it be working with a younger guy, older guy, whatever, tag team. I really saw more, and it's unfortunate. He was one of those guys I've always wanted to meet, so I think now, convention-wise, it'll be easier. But, you know, banger after banger, he's had, you know, that triple threat at WrestleMania with Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and Gunther. It's like crazy, amazing good. And yeah, just shitty to see, you know, guys who've been around and been established for so long to request to leave. And who knows, you know, I feel like guys like The Miz could be next. Now I feel like it's such uncertain times, especially with the new TKO contracts and what they expect out of the talent. You really never know who's going to stay, who's going to go. So unfortunate news if it's true, because Sheamus was to me, a lifer. But we'll see what happens in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next video.